Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to DaveyJay Today. I'm your host, DaveyJay, and today we're going to talk about Firestarter. Firestarter is Blumhouse's newest adaptation of the Stephen King novel of the same name, and it stars Ryan Kiera Armstrong as Charlie, Zac Efron as Andy, and Michael Greyeyes as Rainbird, the main villain. Now, I loved Michael Greyeyes in Fear the Walking Dead Season 3, which, in my opinion, is the best season of the show, and if you've seen any of the latter seasons of Fear the Walking Dead, you know what I'm talking about. It really lost its quality, but that's a story for a different time. Michael Greyeyes is a fantastic villain in this movie. Also, John Carpenter was asked to do the score for this film, and it makes sense to me. Lots of people are like, why did he agree to do this? Now, he and his band, Daniel Davies, Cody Carpenter's son, have scored both of the new Blumhouse Halloween films, Halloween Kills and Halloween 2018, and they will be scoring the upcoming Halloween Ends, which is due out to be out later this October. They do such a great job scoring movies, especially horror movies. In fact, Universal actually wanted John Carpenter to direct the original 1984 version of Firestarter, but that fell through when The Thing proved to be a box office flop. That's right. The Thing is a legendary movie nowadays and such a cult classic. It's weird to think that that movie was a box office flop when it came out in the early 80s. But that's the reason why John Carpenter didn't get the role of director for Firestarter 1984, and it went to Mark Lester instead. Now, if you've seen the original Firestarter, it's impossible not to make comparisons. You got Ryan Kiera Armstrong in the role as Charlie, and in the 1984 movie, you have Drew Barrymore, who's just so charming and just so cute, and she's so perfect in the role.
No one wants to hurt you or your daddy.
You liar, you're supposed to kill him and I know it.
I'd advise you do what my daughter says.
And I love how her hair flies back every time she uses her power. She's like a real-life superhero, like, when she's channeling that fire, and it's just amazing.
Please don't make me do anything.
It's really hard not to make comparisons to the original movie. Now, I have not read Stephen King's novel Firestarter, so I can't really comment on that. But I can say that I really did enjoy this new adaptation of Firestarter. Now, number one being because of the amazing score by John Carpenter. John Carpenter has this thing with most of his scores, and it's just a tempo thing, like if you've heard any of his scores, you will hear that tempo kind of just... It's so awesome. It's like his thing. This is what he does with all of his scores. And it makes everything extremely intense. The score is really drawn out. It sounds great. Really well thought out. The acting, pretty good. See, the issue I have is when I see Zac Efron on screen, I always picture that High School Musical stuff. But when I saw this movie, I started taking him seriously as an actor. I think he made that successful jump from teen star to leading man, and I think this is going to be a great role for him to kind of break out of that. I think that he really played a very adult role, and we're used to him being in the High School Musicals and movies like that, roles like that, like Disney roles. So it was really unique seeing him play a dad or a father figure to Charlie here. Ryan Kiera Armstrong, I don't know if she's been in anything else, but boy, did she steal the show.
I can help you.
Liar, liar, pants on fire.
She's got to be in like 90% of the scenes. And I'm not going to spoil too much here, but there is a scene towards the ending when she comes face to face from one of the agents at the shop, and they're in a parking garage in the car, and let's just say she uses her powers, and when people get burned in this movie, they don't show a lot of burn injuries in the original film. Granted, it's 1984, so they really didn't have too much CG back then, so they didn't do a lot of burn injuries, so to speak, in the original film. In this movie, they go all out. There are some terrible third-degree burns in this movie. And when Charlie gets mad, let's just say it's not wise to play around with fire. And now that Charlie is entering that 11, 12, 13-year-old age, the main concern is that she's going to get angry and have that teen angst and start setting people on fire and set the world on fire. Now, as far as the other villains of the film, if you've seen the original, you know that the Shop are the big bad here, and the Shop is coming after Charlie, her dad, and her mom because of their powers. Now, basically, they were given an experimental drug while they were in college. I think what happened is that they already kind of had powers, but they were just kind of surface level ability, and when they took this Lot 6 chemical, it expanded their powers. And when Zac Efron and Charlie's mom fell in love, and when they had Charlie, it turned out that she was like a combination of both of these powers. So now she has the power to kind of push people with her mind. She can kind of see the future, but she can also set fire with the power of her hands. And quote unquote, it feels good for her to set these fires. So that's what you have with this movie. You have an awesome score. You have a story that's kind of been done up a few times over, but the score drives this movie, and it's just awesome seeing Ryan Kiera Armstrong as a lead at 11 years old, 12 years old, and she steals the show because she's in about 80-90% of the movie, which is tough for any child actor. So I really like this movie. A lot of people aren't going to like this movie, and I see why. And because of John Carpenter's amazingly constructed score, mixed with the fact that Zac Efron and Ryan Kiera Armstrong are so likable on screen, it makes almost every scene of this movie super intense. So I really enjoyed it. If I had to rate it out of 5, I'd say it's a good 3.5 out of 5. It's pretty good for a science fiction horror movie. Now, is it legendary status? Absolutely not. But I really enjoyed this movie, and that's my personal opinion here. You come to my YouTube channel to get my opinion. I like the movie from 1984 much more, but this movie definitely does it justice. Anyways, there you have it. Those are my thoughts on Firestarter without spoiling anything too much. I want to thank you for subscribing, and if you really like what I'm saying here, check out more videos. Feel free to subscribe, feel free to like and share, do all of that, because I really appreciate you watching my videos.
No one wants to hurt you or your daddy.
You liar, you're supposed to kill him and I know it.
Liar, liar, pants on fire.
With all that, thanks for watching my channel. I've said my piece, now it's time to hear yours.